What up, y'all? So if you haven't already noticed, I'm not on my own bike. That's my bike. I am riding my good friend Joe's Ducati Scrambler right now, and I'm going to talk to you guys about it a little bit and give you my feels on it while Joe kind of struggles to ride my bike. It's just really weird feel, and I don't know that he's adapting super quick, which I would go ahead and say I'm not adapting to this super well either. His bike is better than mine, so maybe I'm adapting easier because I'm like, oh, this is great, everything works nice. My bike's all like raspy and crackly and poppy, so getting on something that's like it's really refined is pretty crazy. Also, this bike, you got to be careful on this throttle, man. This thing will murder you. Like the slightest pull and it's like, bah! Yeah, dude, this bike is fast. I'm loving this. This bike is real fast. And the throttle is just so smooth. Like the power delivery, like it comes on quick, but it comes on like real, like linear, you know, like you can feel it building. Like this is one of those bikes where like you feel like at any point you have enough torque to roll on and just disappear. Which you probably do. There's some roll on and some brake. Kind of show you what I mean. This thing, man, my good friend Josh, he is super into Ducatis, and I mean, I always thought they were beautiful. I thought they were great machines, but I was never really had any urge to be a Ducati owner, you know? Like I'm pretty cheap when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like I'm hard on motorcycles, so I like them to be as cheap as possible because I'm gonna abuse them, you know? So so like I never thought I would be the kind of guy that would even consider investing this much in a motorcycle, but after riding this thing, I am pleasantly surprised about how like the price tag seems so low now based on what you're getting. Like this bike is great. It's pretty quick. It does everything it should so far, way nicer than it should. I'm not good at riding it, and I just lost Joe. Oh, he's coming, cool. But yeah, the mirrors are like, no matter how quick you're going, surprisingly clear. The brakes, as you saw in that little like acceleration and brake test, are super grabby. It's cool having like a high like ground clearance because I can just kind of like murder these turns. On the way down, which I might include in this video. If so, I'm sorry for being weird and talking about it. It might have been the first half of this video. If not, I'm sorry for talking about it and not showing it to you. But either way, on the way to lunch, because we're on the way back from lunch now, I was on my bike and I was hitting these turns what I consider aggressively on my bike, and it was like nowhere near as easy as this. This bike just leans in, just point and squirt, and it's like all the power you can need to do whatever you need, you know? I feel like I'm on a proper like FZ09 right now. That's kind of how, like, that's what I would compare it to, like an FZ09, where you're like sitting straight up for the most part, but like you have all that sport bike power. Which, I mean, it's a Ducati, you expect to have like sport bike feels. I kind of want to ride an X Diavolo and see if that's the same, because like imagine a cruiser that felt like a super sport. That'd be rad. Cycle Cruiser has one, and I guess he's super into it, and he seems to me like, I mean, I guess he's a dual sport dude, but he seems like a sport bike dude to me, and he bought one and enjoys it, so it probably does feel kind of like this. I will say I like being this high up. I feel safer than on my bike. I feel more commanding. Like I can really see traffic, I can really see what's going on. I imagine the ride height is similar to that on my old Kawasaki Versus. Like it feels commanding like that. But I'm not really sure. Like I don't know if I said this already, but I'm definitely going to throw like a basic spec sheet in the description of this in case you're interested in the bike. I mean, obviously you can just Google a spec sheet. That's what I'm going to do to get the numbers, but I'll put them up there like that so you can see it with the video. Seat height and power and all that.
I like how bright my taillights are.
You said you do like it?
Yeah, they're bright.
No. I feel like my bike's a lot bigger than I noticed now that I'm seeing it off in the distance. Like, it felt small when I was on it. I really like being this high up. Like, I can see everything. But yeah, man, the fit and finish on this is insane. Yeah. Digital gauges. Oh man, that thing almost like snatched my leg off when I accelerated. Woo! Man. I would challenge him to a race, but I don't know if I'd want to win or lose so that my bike wins. Also, I'm not sure how thrilled he is on the idea of racing on my bike that he can barely ride because it's so weird. It's kind of hard to explain. If you haven't ridden this Suzuki Boulevard, it's kind of hard to explain. It's not like any other cruiser you could ride. It's kind of weird. But this thing, on the other hand, is not weird. This thing is awesome. If you have even the slightest chance to ride a Ducati Scrambler, or I'm like brain farting and messing up my words. If you have even the slightest chance to ride a Ducati Scrambler, see, I did it. Look at me. Do it. Go out and do it. Do whatever you can to get yourself on one of these motorcycles for an afternoon because this thing is amazing. Obviously, you're gonna have some like maintenance to consider. They are not cheap to maintain. They take a lot of work to keep them this great, but oh boy, is it good. Like, I drive a Volkswagen right now and I get all that same kind of talk to people. They're like, oh, you got to do that German maintenance, and it's like, I totally get it now. Like, for some reason that didn't cross over to me on motorcycles. For me on motorcycles, I was like, cheapest thing possible. I want only Japanese stuff with like the longest service intervals possible. But like, this thing is good and worth all like the work that it would take to keep it, or all the money it would take to keep it going this good. It is worth it. Whoa, risky, buddy, risky. Man. Oh God, the gears, they just click through so smooth. Ah, my bike is like clunk, clunk, clunk. But this is like scoop, scoop. That's the noise it makes when it goes to a new gear. Scoop. Yeah. Ooh. I will say the one thing I don't like is how close the pegs and everything, like the pegs and like lower foot controls, they're all really tight in. Which, I mean, I guess with the right size shoe or the right boot, it's fine. But with me, I have big, clunky, dumb size 11s and these fly riding shoes. It's just really big, and I feel like I'm barely getting anything. Like, I'm shifting with like my big toe, braking with my other big toe. It's like forcing my like calves, I guess, like into the bike. Like, I can't like spread out and feel comfy. I'd like all that stuff to be a little longer, I think. But that's the only complaint I'm seeing so far. This thing is pretty cool. Like, the kill switch to go down covers the starter button. So you push the kill switch up, which reveals the starter button, and you push it, and that's pretty dope. It's really light. That's another thing I'm noticing. Like, it's like there's like no weight underneath it. It's great. Just moving the handlebars around, they just want to turn in. I know a lot of that has to do with the rake on it, but overall, I'm just like super stoked on that. Those forks are basically straight up and down, which is cool. Just aesthetically, this thing rules, man. If it were mine, I'd probably put some round mirrors on here, kind of give it more of like a vintage look. But yeah, overall, there's not much I would change. I know he is changing the handlebars, but I kind of like dig these. I'd rock something like this. Maybe put like a little center pad on it to get it more dual sporty looking. Yeah, I was kind of sad that I wasn't like super into Scramblers, but that this was my favorite one, and that is just like reaffirmed now. This is 100% my favorite Scrambler. It was just really good on road. I rode the Triumph Scrambler a couple times, and this thing puts it to shame. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, this thing destroys that bike. It is so much better than that. I'm sorry if you own a Triumph Scrambler, don't take offense. The Ducati Scrambler destroys it. Oh my God, so much ground clearance. I can get used to this For sure. I'm gonna mess around and have to buy a Ducati, y'all. I don't know that I'd buy the Scrambler. Like, I mean, I like it a lot, but I don't know. Like, I feel like if you're gonna buy a Ducati, you gotta get a Monster, man. That's like the one. At least as your first Ducati for me. My friend Josh, like I was saying, he's into Ducatis and he has a Monster. I'm gonna try to get my hands on his maybe one of these days and do a little comparo and see what kind of fits my style more, you know? God. Good? But yeah, I mean, my bike's like, it's no slouch, but it's cool to be on like a properly fast bike. I'm enjoying it. But yeah, I cannot complain one bit about this motorcycle. It is very, very hot. I know I said I can't complain, now I'm complaining, but it is super hot. I don't know how this thing is making so much heat. Like, my bike wouldn't be remotely this hot right now. Oh God, that's smooth, man. Oh, I feel like this transmission is literally, it doesn't run on oil. There's no oil in the bike. The bike runs on butter because it's so smooth. It runs on like coffee creamer. That's what this bike runs on, like not oil. It can't be oil. Way too slick for oil. What are we doing here? We're stopping for the jaywalker. That girl looked like what's like one of the characters from Pulp Fiction. I can't think of any of their names right now, but she looked like she belonged in Pulp Fiction, and I mean that in the most complimentary way possible. I wish I had style like that. Like, you know, some people just have like a really like unique style, or like a very committed to style. I just kind of put clothes on. Speaking of style, god damn, this bike looks good, man. From like every angle, like just looking down on it, I'm like, whoa, this is sick. People are paying attention to me way more than they ever do on my bike, that's for sure. I can see people staring, and I love it. I love it a lot. But yeah, this is like gonna completely change my opinion on like scramblers. Like, at the core, I still think if you want a scrambler, like maybe consider a dual sport if you like legitimately plan on going off road. But if you just like the styling and you're trying to ride on road, so you want to get a scrambler, probably buy this one. Of the major scramblers that are on the market now with the new scrambler craze, the only one I haven't ridden is the BMW R9T, which I hope to change that soon. But this one is better than the Yamaha. This one is way better than the Triumph. God, it's like sewing machine quiet and smooth when it's going under motion. It's like, ooh, man, there's no grumble, there's no shake, no vibes. This thing is really, really, really refined. I am so surprised. Hats off to Ducati on this one. Ah, and that clutch pull. I know I've said it a million times, but I cannot get over how nice that clutch is to pull. It's like there's nothing behind it. It's just like, you're done. That's it. Pulled in. The seat, well, I said it is comfortable. Like, I think it's a good commuter seat, but on a long trip, like, we've been riding like maybe like 20 minutes, and it's still cozy, but I could see how, like, not how, but exactly where my ass would start to hurt if I had to do like a highway commute or like a long trip. So if you're considering that, I would definitely swap the seat, get something with a little bit more support. Woo! Forks are stiff. Mine are a lot more plushier over that stuff than this, which is crazy because this has a lot more travel, so I expected a little bit more. The rear is good, it's just the forks. The rear is nice and cozy, for sure. That feels like commanding, just enough plush. It's like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like tight enough and hard enough that like I feel like I can like murder some stuff and like just really get in there and lean in. but it's still plush enough to where like the bumps aren't destroying my spine. The forks, on the other hand, they run a number on your wrist. I'm gonna scoot on over here. Yeah, but yeah, like I would change the mirrors, something around. That's just an aesthetic choice because these mirrors are really, really good. I'd swap my seat, and see about getting some like longer pegs on here. But other than that, this bike is pretty straight out the gate, I would say. Especially if you're like commuting or wanting to do some like light dirt road stuff. Like, it's good, man. Obviously I haven't ridden it off-road, nor do I think I will want to. Like, I don't want to take somebody's, like, I don't know how much are these things, $12,000 Ducati, or I'll put the right price down in the description, but whatever, like, you know, expensive motorcycle. I would take it off-road because I am a garbage dirt rider, and chances are I would drop your shit. Note to all of my viewers and friends, if you let me ride your bike in the dirt, I'm gonna drop your shit 100%. Don't do it. Don't let me use your stuff off the road. I do not have that talent. Woo, that clearance. Man, this power is good. Don't do it, buddy. Yeah, just at like, what is this, 46, 50 miles an hour? It is like no vibes at all. Like, besides the little hum, I can't even tell that this bike is on. God, this engine would be so good for a long trip. You'd have like no fatigue. I feel like this is the kind of bike that brings out the hooligan in you. Like, I know if I just yank this throttle, the front wheel's coming up. I know if I like mash this brake, I can back it in around this turn and get some slide stuff going, get slideways on it. He's kind of far behind me, so maybe we'll just wait here and not take this light, but that's fine. But yeah, you hanging in there?
How do you think the brakes are? The front brakes kick ass on that bike.
Yeah, I'm like, he said that the front brakes kick ass on this bike, and that bike's like, obviously I have rear drums and a single front disc, so the braking system on that is way worse, and he is learning that the hard way. Yeah, man, this thing is really, really good, like in all ways. I'm surprised it doesn't cost more money, honestly. I really am. Like, I'm the kind of guy that would never pay more than $10,000 on a motorcycle, but I would consider getting this like used, you know? You get this used for a few thousand off, I'm about it. Yeah, but really, guys, that's all I got for you. Just a quick little ride on this bike. Like I said, I'm gonna throw a description in the bottom with like some basic specs on this and maybe some little side notes if I think of anything else. But yeah, thanks for coming along on this short ride. My next episode will come pretty quickly after this because I already recorded it before this. I'm ahead of my game. But yeah, thanks for riding along. Thank you guys for your support. If you don't subscribe, please do that. I appreciate it. Yeah, like every single subscriber, when I see that thing pop up, it really means the world to me, so thank you for that. And if you would like to see some different content from me, let me know and I'll make it happen, I promise. All right, y'all, have a good rest of your day. Peace.